We are in St. Augustine, Florida, where we will be spending the next 2 days exploring everything there is to see and do here. And we're starting our day here in historic downtown at the city gates.
St. Augustine used to be a walled city, and this gate, built in 1808, was the only way in or out of the city at that time.
If you want a really easy way to see St. Augustine, there are multiple tour companies that do these hop-on, hop-off trolley tours. They'll provide you a lot of great information and take you to a lot of the sites around town. However, a lot of what there is to see and do here is in the central area. Like, this is St. George Street behind me. It is a pedestrian street that has tons of shops, eateries, hotels even. So you can see and do a lot on your own on foot. And we're gonna explore the town today with the help of our friends James and Jessica. They know St. Augustine a lot better than we do, and they've made quite a few videos about it on their channel, Pretty Cool Vlog. So you should go check that out if you want to see all kinds of other stuff in and around this area and more. St. Augustine was founded in 1565 by Spanish explorers. Although Native Americans had already lived in the area, it is considered the oldest continually inhabited European established settlement in the US, and that is a mouthful to say and remember, so that's probably why they just refer to it as the oldest city in America.
And this is the oldest wooden schoolhouse in the USA. It's over 200 years old, and there's a free diploma with tuition.
Right here behind me is Potter's Wax Museum. It is considered the first wax museum in America, plus it's in this cool old building from 1888. It used to be a drugstore. The wax figures they're interesting, they're fun, but maybe not as good as the ones at Madame Tussauds. Right here behind me is Flagler College. If you're thinking, dang, that is a fancy looking hotel, you would be right. It was originally constructed in 1887 by prominent Floridian Henry Flagler as a fancy hotel called the Ponce de Leon Hotel. It's so fancy that when it opened, it featured Tiffany windows and Edison electricity. They offer tours here. Right now they're not doing them, but hopefully later in the year they will be. Just across the street from Flagler College is another former fancy hotel. This was Hotel Alcazar. It was built in 1887, I believe, also commissioned by Henry Flagler. However, now the building is one part the City of St. Augustine building, and the other part houses the Leitner Museum, which we are about to check out now. The Leitner Museum is truly a quirky place. Otto Leitner had such an interesting, eclectic collection of stuff, and a lot of what you see in the museum are part of what was his personal collection, although the museum has continued to add to the collection. So not only is this a weird, old-timey taxidermied lion, but it was actually presented to Sir Winston Churchill in 1943 by the Zoological Society of London. So it's a very interesting, specific, old taxidermied animal. This room was the lounge for the Turkish and Russian baths. Apparently a fancy bath would only run you $1.50. It's like just to sit. It's like a butt bath. This was the swimming pool at Hotel Alcazar. It was at one point considered the largest swimming pool in the world, but they have filled it in, and now you can eat lunch there. So that's pretty neat. What a fancy way to have lunch though, right? It smells good in here too. So I was just reading that the pool was a spring water pool, and because of Florida water, it had a lot of sulfur in it, and so people often would complain because it had a rotten egg smell, as Florida water does. That was really interesting. Like a very kind of eclectic mix of art and artifacts and just a little bit of everything, and interesting history in the building as well. So thanks for showing us that place. Good choice.
Yeah, pretty neat.
If you're looking for an old fancy hotel that you can actually stay in, right here behind me is the Casa Monica Inn. It was built in the 1880s as well and is now run by the Kessler Collection. So it's pretty nice. If you're a little more budget conscious like we are on this trip, you could stay at the Flagler Inn. It may not have been built in the 1800s, but it has pretty consistently good reviews for a 2-star hotel. And we booked it for only 46 bucks a night on Hotwire. For that price, it is great. We're just wandering around in St. Augustine now, and we happened upon the St. Augustine Distillery, which is a really cool building. Our friends were telling us that it used to be an ice plant, and they kept a lot of the original look of the ice plant inside. You can take a tour of the distillery here, or you can just sample some things in the shop. And they also have a restaurant here. It's all really neat looking. For dinner, we are gonna go to Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill because, well, these guys say it's good, and they better be right. I'm just saying. All of our food was fantastic. I think like 10 out of 10 for everything. Jeremy got a shrimp and crawfish pot pie, and it was the best part of it. It was amazing. I think we're gonna call it a night here this evening. Jeremy and I still have a full day tomorrow, but this is where we get to say goodbye to pretty
These
cool
guys.
vlog. Yeah. So make sure you go check them out. We are starting our day here today at the St. Augustine Lighthouse, a place that I have wanted to go for quite a while now. I'm excited to finally be here. This place is really interesting. Not only do we get a feel for what life was like being a lighthouse keeper in the 1800s, but they have all kinds of artifacts and information about the family that kept the lighthouse in the 1800s. So it's quite interesting here. The basement seems spooky. Are you ready to go explore the basement? I just came around the corner and there's someone in a scuba diving outfit that I thought was a person, and it scared me. We made our way up to the second floor, which used to be where the family's bedrooms were, but they've converted it into this big space where it's got like a shrimping exhibit. We did have to go outside to go upstairs, and now I'm not sure if they had to do that or if they had some kind of internal staircase back then, because it wouldn't be very fun if they had to go outside and go upstairs and then back inside to go to bed. The keeper's quarters are pretty neat to see, but now let's do what we came here to do. Let's go that 165 feet up to the top of the lighthouse. Are you ready to make the ascent? I'm actually, like, part of me is nervous because it's a lighthouse and those just naturally are scary to me because I'm afraid of heights. But also, this place was on an episode of Ghost Hunters, which I enjoy as a show, and they got some really creepy things here, and now I'm like, ooh, it's scary for multiple reasons. So let's go. Built in 1871, this lighthouse has 8 landings and 219 stairs.
We made it all the way to the top. Now it's time to go back down.
Fair.
Please. We did it.
We did do it. We just picked up some pretty neat postcards to send to some of our Patreons this month. If you would like to get a monthly postcard from us, then all you have to do is go over to Patreon. $5 or more will get you a postcard, plus your name in the end of the credits of the videos for that month. You know, once we got going, it really wasn't that bad. I've done much scarier things in my life. Plus, the view was worth it. Now let's go do something in town that's a little less terrifying. We are back in the historic part of town to do a little bit more exploring today. But first, I need some coffee. And I think this is the place that our friends were telling us yesterday was a good place to get coffee, but I'm not sure. It looks pretty neat, so hopefully it's good.
Pretty good. It's pretty low-key here this morning, so if you're coming to visit and you don't want to deal with the crowds, maybe weekdays early in the day might be a good choice.
One spot we missed yesterday was this little street right here. This is Treasury Street, and at 7 feet wide, it is pretty narrow. I guess it's even considered the narrowest street in the US. I was reading on the Atlas Obscura website that they intentionally made the street narrow so that 2 people could carry a chest of gold down the street, but that a carriage couldn't come down and steal that chest of gold when they were bringing it out to the water. So, I don't know. I mean, pirates were doing piratey things back then, so it makes sense.
So at 7 feet wide, I could probably lay down here and stick my arms up and touch both sides.
You probably could. We could make a human chain and the 2 of us could touch street side to street side. Oh, see, and my back's against the other side, so nailed it. Sadly, we ran out of time to do the Castillo de San Marcos, but this is a really cool fort that you should definitely check out if you do have the time. Castillo de San Marcos is the oldest masonry fort in the continental United States. It was built a little over 100 years after St. Augustine itself was founded. There were a number of wooden forts in the area, but pirates burned those down, so they built this big guy. So they constructed this and a lot of things in the area, because it's local to the area, out of coquina, which seems to hold up pretty well considering this is like, you know, 200 plus years old and it's doing fine. Yeah, 250-ish? It's doing pretty good. This is a national park, so you can get in with your National Parks Pass, or it's $15 per person. Or even if you don't go inside like we are today, there are beautiful views around here. It is a great vantage point to come and check out. Our last stop today here in St. Augustine is at none other than Ripley's Believe It or Not. Now, Ripley's Believe It or Not are just a fun, wacky museum full of oddities. They are in towns across the US, and no matter where you go, you'll find some good stuff. However, this one is the very first one, and it's been open since 1950. So, if you want to see more about what's inside of here, then you'll have to go watch our video, because we put up a video that's all about this place.